Well, good morning and welcome to the first annual New Mexico Delt Virtual Conference. This is our first presentation of the morning, Career Ready 101 for HSE College and Career Preparation. My name is Cash Clifton. I'm one of the Delt Master Instructors and I will be your moderator for this. We'll be joining Dawn Dutton and Terry Gustafson as they present in this. It's going to be about a 40-minute presentation, and then we're going to open the floor for questions through YouTube Live. So welcome, and let's go ahead and get started.
Good morning. Thank you for coming and attending our first annual conference. My name is Terry Gustafson, and I'm going to be co-presenting with Dawn Dutton.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first virtual conference for NM Delt. We're pretty excited about what we have today for you. Lots of presentations. Starting out today, Terry's going to talk to you first, and I'll come in a bit later. Terry?
So this is Career Ready 101 for high school equivalency and college and career preparation. We're going to tell you a little bit about the 411 on Career Ready 101. We're going to take a peek inside the actual program, the ACT Career Ready 101 program, and we're hoping you come home with something today. Oh, the road to success. ACT Career Ready 101 is an internet-based learning system that helps individuals master the work readiness skills they need to be successful in the workplace. This is extremely important now, especially with the WIOA standards coming down, that we incorporate some sort of career planning into our curriculum. So let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to give you a little background about Career Ready 101. It's more than just a career program. If you use this program, you also do better on your HiSET. One of the reasons we want to have this program and have a National Career Readiness Certificate is because employers look for that. So it's becoming important, and this is a good way to shine and to stand out when you're with employers. So what do we do in the Career Ready 101? It's a huge program. In order to get the National Career Certificate, we need to test into the foundational work key skills. So there's 3 categories that we basically work with: reading for information, locating information, and applied math. And this is very much career related. It also goes into the different life skills and soft skills that we may need in order to be a good employee. So we're talking about financial literacy for personal reasons. We have them do career exploration, which has to do with the interview and the resume and cover letters. And it's very important nowadays to have good customer service no matter what job that you're doing. So it does take them into little areas where they work on their soft skills. And it's an all-in-one program.
The National Career Readiness Certificate is just another way that our students can document their skills. That's what specifically it does, is it documents individual skills. As you can see now, the certificates are on the screen, and there are 4 levels: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. The 3 programs that Terry mentioned, reading for information, locating information, and applied math, each have, well, 6 levels, and locating information has 6 levels, and reading and math have 7 levels. And those levels correspond to at least GED level as far as the math goes, maybe a little bit above GED level. So our students, HSE students, college prep students, can use this program to prepare for entrance exam, whatever entrance exam they may have at wherever they may be going to college. It's an excellent thing. On the other side, the bronze level, my experience has been that students, ESL students, HSE students can work together in an open lab, can work together on this program. It's not good for lowest level ESL students, but intermediate and advanced ESL students can gain a whole lot of skills in reading and locating information, which is all of the reading that doesn't mean words. Reading signs and graphs and charts. And we know from ACT statistics that locating information is the most challenging and is passed at the lowest levels or not passed. It's the most difficult for them. I always thought that would be applied math, but it's not. It's a lot of people bring math skills, especially the ESL students may bring math skills with them to an ESL class. But so the National Career Readiness Certificate is earned by taking the WorkKeys exam. The WorkKeys exam is 3 parts. It's those 3 programs: reading for information, locating information, and applied math. The tests are about an hour each. They are administered at a testing center. Instructors cannot the exam, but in New Mexico, we've worked out so that it's free to, should be free at most places to for the students to take that. It's an $18 exam and an $18 certificate, but we most places give that out for free in the testing centers. And it's a nice certificate in the first place, and then it has been recognized. Monster.com, for example, recognizes that certificate on resumes, that sort of thing. It's a comprehensive exam. The award is given out to the lowest test level that someone, if someone gets a level 5 on reading, a level 5 on math, but a level 3 on locating information, they will receive a bronze certificate. So it can be retaken, and there are options for it, but it's an excellent thing, in addition to being an excellent program for HSE prep.
And I'd like to add something here, if you don't mind. As far as the research, students who have done this program, they have found out that the GED passing scores and rates when they achieve level 5 have gone up, actually. So it does get a little more complicated than the GED when you get to the level 7, especially in like applied math or the locating information. Yep. It also has shown that for Acuplacer, that their Acuplacer scores have increased by 35%. So that's a good thing to know. So it not only helps you with the WorkKeys, which is required by any city job, I believe, around here, but it helps you with your secondary transition into college, if you like. So we're going to take a closer look. We're going to set up a class. We're going to add students. We're going to assign some curriculum, get you going on this, and show you the different functions and menu within the program. So I'm going to get off the slides for a minute, and we're going to go straight to the program. We're going to go live with the program. So we have 411, one of those tabs.
The first thing I'd like to do is go over here to the NMDELT site. NMDELT.org, of course, is your site for all things resources for HSE or ESL. But here, of course, is our conference information. But over here on the left, request Career Ready 101 account. This is how you begin, by getting your own instructor account in this program. In addition to that, there are videos and a lot of information about step-by-step instructions, and the things that we're going to talk about today are right here on our site. So go ahead and be sure to look at that anytime you need a refresher on any of this. To get into the program, Career Ready 101, we log in with that account that has been created for you by someone. And I'm going to do that right now, as soon as I remember what I'm doing.
And there are different kinds of accounts. What you'd be getting is an instructor account, there's an administrator account, and of course the student account.
We see this is a pretty intuitive kind of program. I mentioned setup. Setup is right here. That's the first thing we're going to do. Teach is something that you can do in the classroom with your students using this program. Setup is what we're going to look at. The portfolio browser is just the information that keeps track of students' work. Calendar is a calendar. Reports are how you can find, we're going to talk about these a bit later, but for documenting attendance, documenting your hours that students earn outside of class in a distance environment. These reports are excellent. Career exploration is a whole thing that's addition to, some of you may know this, this program is KeyTrain. It's the same things, but we didn't have this career exploration in the key train when we used it earlier. But first
John,
thing to do.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you for just a second? We'll give you some feedback. Okay, you're fine to continue.
All righty, thank you, Cash. So student accounts here, and add new student. Am I doing that first or doing class first?
I think we need a class first and an instructor first before we can give the student to them.
Okay, my
Seems
apologies.
logical, right?
Assign lessons. Let's create a class first.
Yeah.
Assign lessons and assign to class. Maintain classes is how we actually add a new class. So sorry for that. But here on add new classes is what we click on. Pretty simple. I recommend that you name your class in a way that's easy for you to remember, something specific. For example, at Doniana Community College, I might call this Math 1 BACC Spring 17, for example. So that's all I need to do there. I've created that class. There are default lessons that are added to the class immediately. That's pretty easy. You can come in and edit your class later on or in the beginning if you want to, but there's a whole lot of work that's automatically added to your class as soon as you create it. So now, all we need to do is go back home and start over again to create a student account.
Sorry about the phone.
We can't put the
Gina,
landlines
put that phone down.
on silent. To create a student account, we go back to student accounts and add new student. And for some reason, they want me to click on this twice. And here we have first name and last name. And the username must be unique. It doesn't need to be lengthy. It doesn't need to be numbers or asterisks or any of that, but make sure that you write it down, of course. Remember what it is. I'm just going to use password as a password here because I can. I know that I have a unique username. And that green check mark there told me that it was unique when I did that. So now I've created that thing, and it tells me that I have 32 default assignments applied. This is the person, Mr. Third here with his login M Third. What do I want to do next? I want to assign work to this student. So I'm going to make sure that
They have a really nice feature here where you can email the student all the login information, and it automatically emails the link and everything and their password if they remember to save the email.
This is where you can see what is involved with the student's account, what the student has. Right here are programs, the major programs we're going to start with: reading for information, applied math, and locating information. Those are automatically assigned. And then you as an instructor can come in and adjust and edit from this page. Now, the next thing I want to do is log out of here and show you what this program looks like for the student. You can log back in quickly enough, and I hope I can remember what my username and password is. I think I can.
It's always good to put yourself as a student when you're on one of these things so you get that view.
Yep, you need to show your students how to do this. So it opens up here. That looks a little bit different than your instructor account. The student can look at interests here, and Terry's going to talk a little bit more about this. But to go to My Lessons, they can click right there. And cool thing about this program. It's pretty easy to use, like I said. Scroll down. There are pre-tests here. There is no audio with the pre-test, but after that, there's audio available for all programs. So we're going to start out with reading for information. The very cool thing is here, we can take this in Spanish or in English. Again, the pre-tests don't have any audio, so the Spanish speaker won't hear that immediately, but when the lessons begin, they'll get instruction in Spanish. So it's pretty cool. So we just click on that, it opens up. There's our pretest. Again, like I said, we're nothing to hear here, but the pretest is not exhaustive. But right here, it tells you the quiz contains 20 questions, so it's not crazy. It's a good way to start out, and then the student will be placed in the level that they belong in
You can hit. Can you hear us? We're having technical
Yes.
difficulties. Thank you
Yes,
for
we have audio
standing.
again.
And thank you for standing by. We've had some technical difficulties, but we are back.
Sorry about that.
And we'll get right to the screen we were on. Yes. And there we go, right back to the pretest.
I'd like to show you a way to, we're going to log out of this, and I want to show you a student account. Got some work in it. And let you hear what the program might sound like here. Again, the audio works if you want it to. It can be, we can just continue there.
Have you ever seen a white dove on a picture or postcard, or perhaps in a book? It shows you that the author meant to show peace. The dove is a symbol. Symbols and signs are everywhere. We will be reading symbols in this section. Symbol.
So you can see or you can hear rather from that and see that the language is slow. It's simple. It's good for the student. The audio can be turned off, of course. But looking at the student account again here, the student gets information about time and where they are in the account. These are all the levels of reading. There's a lot of things that are that the student can see about their own progress in here. So it gives them a sense. It's not just reports for the instructor, but the students can see what they have completed to give them a sense of accomplishment. So we like this program a lot, and we hope, and Terry's going to take over and show you a little bit more about it.
And we want to thank you again for hanging in there during our technical difficulties. Like any technology you're incorporating into your classroom, you always have to have a plan B because things can go wrong. So what I'm going to do is actually log out of here and log into my own. So let's see, log out. So we use this Career Ready 101 in our program, our ACE program, which is Accelerated Career Readiness Education, and I guess I'm logged in here. And so I have quite a few students that I have in the classroom. So I have set them up, just like Don said. I've gone to the easy menu here and set them up. Usually the first thing you want to do before you do create an account is to browse your students. Make sure that they're not already in there by some other teacher or something. So you would want to browse them by name. So if I was looking for Terry somebody, I would write Terry in here. And then I would click enter, and it would let me know if there was a Terry in the program. So here you're not seeing a Terry, so there is no other Terry. When you enter their username too, it usually will not let you enter if another name exists that's like that. So once we have our students, we go to the easy setup menu up here, talking about all the assignments. There's different ways that you can add students and give them assignments. One of those ways is called Class Manager. So there's several avenues to add a student. So Class Manager. In this, we have several tabs. We have members, agenda, class sessions, reports. So you have all these other features. It's one of those programs you can put the student on, and it's kind of hands-free. It just does it itself. But if you want to get more involved, you can go into your class members and you can look through these tabs and you can group these students. Another thing that you can do is create an agenda, a specific agenda, if you want them to follow a certain plan. So you can manually add those lessons that you saw, the reading from information and things, into your agenda. Let's say you want them to work on math first, and then you wanted to work on some career explorations. That's how this could come in handy. Class sessions, that's if you wanted to set up any class sessions live or in classroom, you could do it through here. Reports are very, very important, especially if you have a blended learning class or you're doing this online. So there's different ways to get the reports. We can search a student individually, or we can come up here to where it says reports. So I'm going to click reports. We can do a report just for one student. We can do it for one class. We can do it for one group or the whole organization, which would be a huge report, by the way. We can export them in spreadsheet file or as a class. So it's pretty good if you're just wanting a certain thing you're looking for. I'll go ahead and click here and I'll show you what that looks like. My reports here. Okay, and I'm going to do, I do this weekly. I do a class report. So it's as simple as clicking a report, and you can see here the different reports that they do have. The one that's new here is the progress report. And what I like about this, I can specify a range of time to get the report. Say if I need like the week's attendance, it would give me that week from starting wherever I wanted it to start and ending wherever I wanted it to end. It will also give you a class roster if you click here. And all my students are kind of grouped under this ACE program that I'm doing right now. So if I wanted to do a class roster, I would get the report. And it doesn't take very long to get your reports. And you can see here, I've got my class roster. It's not like some of the other programs where you're waiting forever to get your report. So I'm going to go back to our thing and show you what the progress. So I could do it by student or group. I have 2 classes in the same organization. So what I've done is group them into their locations. I have one class in Albuquerque and one in Rio Rancho. So I'm going back to the reports here and I'm going to show you the progress. So I'll do that by class also. Okay, so what this does, it lets you select if you want just a report on how their reading for information is. What I like to do, since they can jump around a lot, is to go and click all those boxes here to select courses. And that way, if they're working on anything else that they're interested in, I'll also get a report of their time for that. So down here, we have the introduction, which is the very first lesson. And it'll check that box because I want to report about that. Finding your career. They have a great little section here about financial awareness and preparing for your career, interview skills, the soft skills that are important in order to get along with people and work in teams. They make you successful in your job. And here's the great thing where I can select if I want to report for just the week, if I want to report for the month. So let's say I wanted to do February's. I would start it in beginning of February in the 28th. So I could put that range in there. I leave everything here basically the same because it just includes all the students, even if they're not there. And this gives me both self-paced students plus instructor-led. If you're doing a blended class, you'd have a mix of both of those. And then download the progress report. So you can see at any given time how your student is progressing throughout the program. And it usually doesn't take too long to get your progress report. It will come up here. And you can, here it's here already. You can save it in different forms. So I save that. Here it is. It comes up as an Excel. And I'm going to make that just a little bit bigger. So it goes through all these different things, units that they can be working on, if anybody worked on any of them. It tells you the total number of students that are active in your class, the number of students active during this specific period, how many hours they worked, if they completed a pre-test, and how many lessons they passed. Now, within each of those categories we were talking about, the reading for information and locating, there are tons of units that are inside those. If I wanted to specifically get the hours for the student, I would click student, and it would give me each of the students' hours here in their total hours. It breaks it down also to pre-tests and things like that. So it's as simple as that to get a report. You don't have to wait. It's not real complicated. There's a couple other features that you might want to use within here. I'm going to go back actually to the assignments, which is in the setup. Now what you do have to browse in order to get the right assignments that you gave your students. So I'm going to go to, actually I'll go to Class Manager, and usually I can see assignments in here. I can figure out where it was. Okay, so if I had put something in the agenda, it would be in there. We can export reports through this area, the class member area. And in tools, some of the lessons, they do have the Spanish translation, but some of them don't. It's only in particular ones. Here's another place where you can actually create a new class and add a student. You can actually kick them off and activate them, or you could just delete the whole class. So that's what you have on your tools. It's very user-friendly. It sends a lot of emails to the students. You can incorporate a calendar into this program. If you could click calendar, and then you can get alerts through the calendar, a class calendar. If you go to teach, and it's always good to have a little face-to-face with them and teach those assignments, you can show this to your whole class. So you can bring this up if they're like struggling, for example, in one of the areas the key train is. And it'll bring up all the lessons so you can have a group lesson here. So let's say we're doing something for reading for information. We're going to skip the pre-test. And I think he mentioned that the pre-test, when they do take it, it's adaptive. And if they do well, it lets them, it passes them, makes them exempt from certain levels. So in this case, there's 7 levels in the reading for information. And within each of these has a little quiz after. So it's more than what it looks like. Some of them are Spanish, which is nice. You could do this as a group. So this one is all translated in Spanish. Not all of them are. And it has the sound. But I can't read Spanish. I'm not sure if the sound is on.
Comprensión de lectura. Este programa le proporcionará entrenamiento para el área de habilidades de comprensión de lectura del sistema de Workcase. Comprensión de lectura es la habilidad de lectura y comprensión de los documentos de trabajo comunes.
And I would second that. So we have a couple of these lessons that are in Spanish for our ESL teachers out there. We'll go back to some more of the features. Oh, within here we have preview modes. And I can't read Spanish, so I'm going to need to switch it back. Now, most of these lessons in the settings, they can't continue from one to the other unless they've finished the first level or the first lessons. So this can be done as a group activity. I'm going to go to a particular student now. I've had a couple students that have come and used this, and they'll get stuck on an assignment. Usually the final in the assignment, they're only allowed to have 2 tries to do it. So you have to manually go in there and give them another attempt. So let me search for a student. You can log in as the student, by the way. Here's where if you want to change anything, you would do it through this pencil filter. If they forgot their login, this is where you could reset it. This is where you can put them in a group. There's usually nothing here, so if you wanted to enter them into a group, and they're all under this one membership ACE. So here's where you would change the password. Maybe they've switched from one instructor to another, so this is where you change the instructor also. And you would just apply it and then save and close. So I kind of want to browse around and see the assignments this student has done. And look, here's another way to create a new student right here. So we're looking at the assignments here, and all the things that have the green check, they're the ones that are available. It's pretty much a prescription of whatever the Workforce Solutions wants you to have available, but all of these are good to go. I have an option where I can do a student view here and see their view from where they are. I can log in as them. I can see the organizational options, which are basically the same. So if we clicked on that, they're all, what they mean by that is it's the workforce options. Well, my computer's a little slow, I guess, today. So here's where you can change some things. Some things are set. So we see here we have final quizzes and how many attempts they can have. They must complete the problems. What they mean by that is they can't skip over problems. We have the option to do open enrollment, allows instructors to add, delete, and edit students. Now, there is differences between the roles of the instructors and the administrators. So they are allowed to add and edit their own accounts, but somebody has to put them in first. So that is any kind of changes you want to make. And if you make changes here, it only applies to the students you get from this point on. So let's go back. And let's look at this student, how they've progressed. So what I have done, some of these students come in, they know exactly what kind of career they want. And this is another cool feature that they have. You can assign by profile down here. So this student, let's say they wanted to go into the healthcare field. I could select profile. And what profile would I like to assign? Select a profile. And so it has all these job titles and job clusters. And so if I wanted to search, they're pretty specific. So let's say we have a legislator. Somebody wants to go into government. We might click on that. And what that will do, it will tend to tailor their lessons to that specific career. So it kind of does a little IBEST thing where it gives them lessons. Let's say you want to be a legislator and you would need to know how to read a lot of contracts. So you might have locating information when it came to contracts and things. So that's a very cool feature if the student knows what they'd like to do. It makes them feel like they're working towards their career at the same time. So I'm going to go back to the assignments and show you. Okay, I'm going to go back. I have them do these pre-tests, especially if they haven't even gotten a TABE. I don't know where to start them. This is an excellent thing to do, is have them do the pre-test because they can be compared to what kind of TABE level they have and what kind of high set. You will get a report like this of things that they passed and things they were exempted from. So you can see that this student was exempted from level 1 and 2. Here's another place where you can give them another attempt. Now, this locating information was a little bit difficult. That's why we're having 6 attempts there. What I usually make them do, I don't give them an attempt right away. I'll go and I'll have them do all the unit quizzes before their final test for this to make sure that they really understand. So we're out of time soon. So we'd like to thank you. And we're going to go back to our slides. We have a little treat for you here. Okay, let's present.
Let me do one thing first. Go back to the adult site, please.
Okay. And if you haven't visited our site yet, please do. There's a ton of information on it for you.
Wanted to make sure that you could see this quickly, exactly where to go on our site, nmdelt.org. If you go to NMDelt Trainings, you'll see Career Ready 101 right there. Terry and I are proud of these videos that you'll see. There are 5, beginning with 411 of Career Ready 101, tells you an outline with a lot of good information, and that will tell you a lot right there. But step-by-step instructions follow here with the subsequent videos. And they're all short. They're just a few minutes long, each of them. And please take advantage of those if you want on this program. It's pretty easy, but these videos can help you get going.
We know you have limited time to see things, and we have a short attention span. So this is the best place to learn a little bit at a time, and you can rewind them. So we'd like to end with a little treat and presentation for you.
It's awesome. Don't miss it.
And come like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. So, one of my newest technology things.
Get up!
great afternoon.
Thank you, Dawn and Terry, for an excellent webinar there. We do have some time set aside for questions and answers. So we have people sending in some questions through YouTube chat. You do have to have a Gmail account to be able to use this feature. So if you are having a difficult time with YouTube chat, please feel free to email your questions. You can email your questions to webinars2@nmdelt.org if YouTube chat is not working for you. So our first question is from Barb Robinson, and she would like to know, how do we find out which employers accept the certificates?
We do have a list of different employers around the state that do accept this. In fact, it's getting more common that they ask for this. So it's definitely the city. If you were to work for the city, they would expect you to go in and have a work keys. Another thing is they're starting to look at that as an equivalent to understand a TABE score. So most of them, I think, are the cities and the bigger companies that will take them. Did you want to add something, Don?
Just the local Chamber of Commerce may have that answer for you also.
Fantastic. Thank you guys. So Nancy Alvarado asks, does this start from the bottom up, or is it more complicated if you choose the career?
We usually choose the career because that's something that, only they can do. When you mean they start at the bottom up at level 1, are you saying?
So we'll wait a minute to see if
The pretest, if you allow it, the pretest to, if somebody came in and they were really good with math, that pretest would automatically exempt them from the lower levels, so they wouldn't have to relearn something.
The default programs that you have on in every class, unless you completely change it and take those out, start at a very low level for HSE students. For ESL students, the beginning level students would have difficulty with it, but any intermediate or advanced ESL students should be able to use this program to help their reading quite a bit. And any HSE student should be able to get in the levels. The lower levels start pretty low.
So
thank you, Dawn and Terry. And Nancy has a follow-up question. Nancy asks, if you choose a career path, would the assignments be more complicated?
I don't believe they'd get more complicated. They would just be more related to that field. Like there would be questions if you were going into the healthcare field, maybe the ratio and proportion questions would have to do with, the
Right.
medicines and weight.
Right. Each field adjusts each of those 3 programs and the other programs for what you need. They wouldn't have to study level 6 and 7 math, for example. They would be exempted from those. They would have to study all of them and only a couple of the reading programs, that kind of thing.
And they're very closely correlated to the high set or the GED. When they get near level 4 or so, that's when I'd start practice testing them. You can compare it to the TABE. Something like level 4 would be the high intermediate basic education. And we have a form, if you'd like to have it, with the NRS test benchmarks and how they compare to the work keys.
Fantastic. So I don't have any more questions at the moment in YouTube chat. I'm not seeing any emails. So we'll hang on for just a minute and see if we have any more questions. I do want to take a moment to let everyone know that our entire conference today is being broadcast through YouTube Live. So as you go to our page that you use to access all of the different conferences, as these things end, you can click on the link and you'll be able to view a recording of any of these sessions if you joined us later, if there's anything you want to review. And please keep in mind, if you are associated with a HED funded program here in the state of New Mexico, the entire DELT team is here to support you. So please feel free to reach out to any of us if you need help with technology related items.
And we're very conveniently located in different areas around the state. So there's one close by to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we're not close, we're happy to come out and see you for a site visit.
I can tell you this program works well on any device, iPhone certainly. It's mobile friendly. There is not an app at this time, but on my iPhone 6 anyway, it works fine in Google browser or Safari browser. So I encourage your students to do that. And it's this program is great as a supplemental program along with a face-to-face or in a hybrid program. It's an excellent way to increase students' areas.
It covers all those areas needed for WIOA too. So it's, like I said, it's an all-in-one kind of program that just covers everything in an easy-to-use format.
All right, so Bar Robinson says, thanks for the informative presentation. So we have not had any questions for the past few minutes now. So we'll go ahead and start wrapping up today unless we see any last minute questions coming in. I want to thank you again for attending our conference. Once again, you're welcome to email any of the presenters if you have further questions. And we will see you here in about 10 minutes for the beginning of our 10 o'clock sessions. Thank you, everyone.